Chapter 1 Yesterday Comes Alive. How do we learn what we know about the past? Who were the first humans? Where did they live? When did they start making tools? What did they eat? How did they build communities? What beliefs guided them? Some of these questions may never be answered, but experts have learned much about people who lived before history was written down. In this book, you will look for answers too, as you join archaeologists at work in Africa. Africa was once called the Dot Continent by Europeans who knew little about it. Of course, Africa was never isolated from world events, and today the clues it provides are shedding light on some of the earlier stages of human development. Say the word archaeology and most people think of dazzling treasures such as the gold mask buried with King Tutankhamun in Egypt or the gold Inca objects found in the Andes. Archaeologists in Africa do find treasure, but often it is not the kind of treasure you might expect. In this book, you will learn about discoveries that range from ruined tombs to buried trash heaps. For archaeologists, such finds are treasures that reveal the story of humankind. They give us a glimpse into the lives of the people who made them. The search for such artifacts can take people to amazing and dangerous places. While exploring Africa's past, archaeologists have endured freezing temperatures and sizzling heat. They have braved sandstorms and climbed some of the world's highest sand dunes and dangerous cliffs. Sometimes, they must sidestep minefields or avoid poisonous snakes. Their journeys may take them across hundreds of miles of desert with no sign of another person. The reward comes from finding history inside caves, on rocks, in buried cities, beneath ruins, and in tombs and graveyards. Archaeologists might be the first people to see or touch an artifact in thousands of years. They might be the first to realize the meaning of already well-known monuments. Even discoveries that seem ordinary can turn out to be important. One such example involves a very unlikely type of treasure indeed. The remains of some bananas, some very, very old bananas. Food for thought. Bananas have been an important food in tropical Africa for a long time. The fruit made some early African kingdoms wealthy once they learned how to grow large crops. For years, historians thought bananas reached Africa after people on its eastern coast made contact with Southeast Asia across the Indian Ocean. According to this theory, bananas originated in New Guinea and then spread to Asia. When Asian people settled on the island of Madagascar in the first millennium AD, they took bananas with them. From Madagascar, bananas then reached the African mainland. In 2000, a discovery in Cameroon suggested an earlier date for bananas' arrival in Africa, around 500 BC. That surprise made historians rethink their theories, but it was nothing compared to the surprise that was about to follow. Growing bananas in Uganda. In 2001, archaeologists Peter Robert Shaw and his team were exploring a small swamp near the site of Munza, Uganda. Robert Shaw was studying the history of the plants that grew in the area. He wanted to find out what changes in plant life revealed about changes in the region's climate and people's way of life. But how do we find out what was growing thousands of years ago? Most vegetable matter rots over such a long time, but traces of pollen sometimes remain too. This Nubian jewelry is covered in hieroglyphics, a system of writing used by both the Nubians and their neighbors, the ancient Egyptians. A man places his foot next to footprint made in South Africa 117,000 years ago, one of the earliest traces of modern humans. This bronze head depicts a king of the ancient Nigerian city of Ife. It dates to between AD 1100 and 1400. Tell us about plants. Other useful clues are charred seeds that became hard and dry, perhaps in a bush fire. Scientists have another way to find out what plants were growing in the past. They look for phytoliths or plant glass. These hard bits of matter are found in the stems and leaves of many plants. They can be seen only with a microscope, and they survive after the plants themselves have died and decayed. Phytoliths differ in shape and size from plant to plant. Great news for archaeologists. One of Robert Shaw's students, Julius Lejeune, found buried phytoliths in the swamp. To his astonishment, they turned out to come from ancient bananas. Could bananas have been growing in this unexpected place? And if so, how long ago? The layers of mud above them on the bottom of the swamp had been piling up for more than 5,000 years. If other evidence is found to confirm this discovery, it means that bananas reached Africa much earlier than people thought. Lejeun's discovery could reveal more than just what ancient people ate. It suggests that trade between Africa and Asia, where bananas originated, may have begun much longer ago than generally believed. That might change the way historians see the relationships between ancient Africa and other lands. Finding the phytoliths was just the beginning. In archaeology, a discovery often raises more questions to answer. How did the bananas get to Central Africa from the coast? And how did ancient farmers learn to grow them? It may take many more years of work before we know the answers. Amazing discoveries. In the following chapters, you will discover other finds that have enlarged our knowledge of ancient Africa and our human story. You will see how fossilized bones and early tools have given us an understanding of the first stages of human development. You will have a chance to examine some of the world's oldest rock paintings and carvings. You will explore some of the amazing buildings of ancient Africa, including the mysterious ruins of Great Zimbabwe, a huge stone city that may once have been home to almost 20,000 people, and Geno, the oldest city in West Africa. And while exploring the world of the Nubians, you will find out that the ancient Egyptians weren't the only people to build amazing pyramids. Stone ruins at Kunduchi in East Africa. The pillar is decorated with imported Chinese plates, evidence of trade with Asia. Vegetation expert Julius Lejeune takes a scientific sample from a site in Uganda. Leju's discovery of parts of ancient bananas may change the way we look at African history. The incredible workmanship of this 9th century Nigerian bronze vessel shows that it was made by people with advanced knowledge of metalworking. But we know almost nothing about this society.